In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state on February 7, 2014, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded and will be available on UTTV, Channel 2, and on the Upper Township website. We hereby direct that this announcement made a part of the minutes of this meeting. I would ask all to rise for the salute to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Barbara, would you call the roll for us, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Calkins?
Here.
Mr. Insera?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mayor Plumbo?
Here.
All members are present.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion approval of the minutes from January 27th budget workshop and meeting and closed session minutes?
Second.
Okay. Is there any corrections, deletions, omissions that anyone's aware of? Okay. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Calkins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
The motion is carried.
Okay. Barbara, do you have anything for us this evening?
I just have two things. The first thing is tomorrow evening at 6 p.m., the Postal Service will be holding a meeting here at the municipal building to go over the hours of operation for the Tuckahoe Post Office. So I have that, and then also just wanted to remind everyone that February 17th we will be closed. It will be a holiday for President's Day. And that's all I have.
Okay. Daniel?
Nothing at this time, but we do have 3 items for closed session: personnel, contract negotiation, and safety and security issues.
Okay. Paul?
Thank you. First, I just wanted to make a reminder for everybody that unfortunately we've been notified from Comcast that UTTV2 will be moving to channel 97 on February 28th. So just making that announcement again, just to let the public know that will be happening. We really have no control, and it's all the public access channels throughout the Comcast area, at least in southern New Jersey. So Ocean City, Summers Point, Avalon, all those stations are all moving away from Channel 2 to Channel 97.
Now, you know what, do we know if, some of the TVs that are older that don't have a HD, box or whatever, they have some little converter. It doesn't go up to 95 or 98. Was that going to be put on that?
My understanding that channel will be included in that basic lowest tier service that you can get from Comcast, that should be available, yes.
Okay. Can we double check on that just to make sure?
I'll confirm that with Comcast.
That's the first thing. And second thing, I'm sure you're way ahead of me, but we are already beginning to screen that on Channel 2?
I talked with Glenn over at the schools on last week, and starting this week, we did want to start scrolling it on the scroll that the station would be moving on the 28th, as well as besides the scroll, we're going to put it as a screenshot, just explaining why the change, and we're also going to put it out on our webpage too, just to let people know.
And you know what, when you call Comcast, see if there's any flexibility in giving us, a week or so to say the state that, because people are going to go on too, and they may have not seen the streamer, and all of a sudden it's going to be gone. Okay, and it's like when you disconnect your phone, it says phone has been disconnected, the new number is if you move or something like that. Let's just see if they'll give us a little bit of transition time so that people are aware that even if it's a blank screen, it says UTTV channel 2 now channel 97 or whatever.
But there's going to be other programming on that channel, so I don't know if they might be able to, for a period of time, put they could put a streamer on there, which is not just a benefit for Upper Township, but for all, everybody throughout.
And Ed, I know you're over there. We can put something on the website as well, please. Okay.
The next item, I just wanted to give the committee an update on the county open space grants. The county is moving forward, I believe tomorrow evening, to approve all of the county grant fundings for the phases, which includes the 2 township awards for Amanda's Field and the Bayview Avenue boat ramp in Strathmere. Following their approval of the projects, a shared services agreement will come back to the township for us to approve and sign off on. The agreement's been circulated throughout the administrative offices, and we've looked at it, and I think they've addressed all of our substantive comments to date.
And if you recall, Rich, you and I spoke, and I believe, Paul, they requested a presence from Upper Township at tomorrow night's meeting, and you were going to go?
I'm going to try to be able to be down there, yes.
Did you want me to go with you?
I'll give you a call tomorrow, just to touch base. Okay.
Paul, a quick question regarding the county. Have you heard anything back from them regarding the drainage for the gentleman at the end of Evergreen Drive, Stagecoach Road?
I've talked to Dale Foster, and I know he's preparing some of the final design plans so that he can take the final layout to the property owner where we're going to get an easement, or the county's going to get an easement from. So he's working on that final design so that he can bring the proper easement language to that adjacent property owner where they're going to try to outfall that drainage issues.
So they're moving forward?
They are moving forward,
so
yes.
We've made progress since the last time you and I spoke?
Yes, we're continuing to make some progress, yes.
Correct.
Anything else?
That's all I had, thank you.
Okay, Barbara?
Couple things this evening. First of all, I have a request from our 2 Public Works supervisors, Roy and Chris, to attend the Public Works Conference, March 19th and 20th. Is it in Atlantic City?
Yes.
In Atlantic City. The cost is $334 per person, and that would require township committee approval per our policies.
And that's for their certification?
That would to get the continuing eds for their certification, yes.
Okay. Someone like to make a motion to that effect?
Second?
Okay, any further discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Powden?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Okay, thank you. The other item I had was, as you know, according to our best practices, we're required for our health insurance broker that the broker be paid a flat rate as opposed to a percentage. I have that confirmation from our broker. We've already contracted with Horizon, and as long as the committees doesn't have any questions about it, we can go forward at the next meeting to memorialize our contract with our broker for the insurance.
Just for the committee's edification, it is a payment that is included in the payment to Horizon, but best practices wants the township to see how much your broker and your medical insurance consultant makes, essentially.
So it's broken out in a monthly bill?
Yeah. But it's not an additional payment to the township because it's included in your premium.
It's included with what's already been contracted?
Yes.
That's
Or just
correct.
itemizing what's...
It's itemizing.
Okay.
So unless anyone has any questions about it, we can put it on for the next agenda. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you. John?
No, other than I think we made a lot of progress with the budget, and it'll be nice to get that moving forward.
I agree. It's a job. Hobie?
Just a couple things. I met with New York to head the Historical Society on some repairs that have to be done on the 3 properties. Basically steps, some handrails, power washing, and freshen up on some of the outbuildings. So Mike Jones and I are working together on that to figure out what it's going to take and get the numbers together for that. I have had one complaint from one of our workers about the community center when we're having tournaments there. It seems that some of the kids aren't being supervised very well, and it's starting to get a little bit out of control out there, and they're not cleaning the building up the way they're supposed to. I think it's something that we need to look at when we have organizations in this township that possibly we should have a part-time employee that they should pay for to be there, to make sure that everything's done and done properly. I know one instance in there, but the chairs back, there's close to 100 chairs left down. There's a few cracked ceiling tiles in the front room now, and balls being thrown up against the ceiling. And it comes down to a situation, I guess, where we're just not monitoring the kids in between bouts. I'm going to talk to Frank, one of the heads of the wrestling program this week, and see if we can waylay some of it, and maybe have some parents designated that they're not going to be watching the mat, they're going to be watching the kids. I just want to put a stop to it before it gets out of control. And it might be where we have to say, if you're having a tournament at any level, in any of our facilities, then you're going to pay for a maintenance worker to be there. And give us some control, and keep the cost down in the long run for us, I think. I've talked to Chris, talked to Dwayne on numerous occasions with Amanda's field. If the snow ever gets off the ground, so we can get out there and look at it and really walk it, we're going to get the game plan for there. One issue I do see right now is the elevation of the infield versus the outfield with the sod. And Paul, I don't know if you've looked at it, but it appears that they took the same elevation and put the sod on top of the same elevation, so where the infield mix comes in, there's about 1.5 to 2 inch lift, which is a real hazard for kids when they're fielding the ground ball. So we're going to have to either look to either cut that back a little bit and lower that side, or fill the infield approximately 2 inches. So it's something, once this weather breaks off, to get together with you and look at it.
Okay,
Is that
that's
something
fine.
that could be like rollered or something, where we could
No,
patch it down?
That's pretty much virgin ground where the outfield is, right?
Excuse me?
That's pretty much packed ground where the sod is.
Correct.
So if anything, we're going to have to possibly elevate the infield, which might help with the drainage issues on the infield too, so. But I'll get together with you and we'll take a look at it. Other than that, we're getting numbers together for the grant. With fencing and everything we need for the other 2 to 3 fields, and looking at locations for the bathroom and the new refreshment stand. My feeling is that the bathroom has to be multifaceted and be available for everybody in that park. So we might have a little bit of discussion of where it goes with baseball. But if we're going to do it with the grant money, it should be available to everyone and not isolated in an area that's only going to be used for baseball. So just, we'll try to come together with Frank Fruin. I'll talk to him. I have a meeting with him this coming week and get all those details worked out and move forward. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Tony?
I have one.
Okay. Ed?
Well, I have an announcement to make. February 22nd will be our next rabies clinic. The one in January was very successful, well attended. And Ed, I'm sure you'll have something posted on our website for that. We attended, there was a group of emergency service officials, myself, we attended a meeting down at Crest Haven with the Freeholder Board on central dispatch. There was a feasibility study conducted. And as a result of that study, it was very convincing that there would be a cost savings for almost every municipality throughout the counties if they were to get involved in the central dispatch. However, as of right now, they don't know exactly how many municipalities are going to jump on board. The feasibility study consisted of municipalities having all of their communications, police, fire, and rescue, to just having fire and rescue, or just having one service dispatch. But anyway, looking at it, it will be a considerable cost savings for us if we do go to a central dispatch. They just, ballpark figure, they were saying somewhere in the area of possibly 50% savings for us if we were to jump in on that. Also, very aggressively, Atlantic County is also heading towards the central dispatch. And there's even talk out there that there could be a combination of Cape County and Atlantic County in the central dispatch. So I'll keep you posted, let you know what's going on. But they're trying to get it off the ground right now, and it's all a matter of how many municipalities will jump in on this.
Hasn't Stone Harbor now already joined them?
Stone Harbor and Avalon started their own right now.
And now,
And yeah, it's going to be through the county, and I think that's going to probably be be the model as of right now as far as, going to the central dispatch. They have a lot of the infrastructures already there, so it's going to take a little bit of convincing on some of the government bodies in these municipalities to decide whether they're going to want to jump on this. So it's myself, I think it's a no-brainer. It's something that, throughout the entire country, central dispatch and all your emergency services are centralized, are countywide. And, it's, home rule is a big thing here in New Jersey, as everybody knows. And sooner or later, we're probably going to be jumping on that bandwagon, and there'll be considerable cost savings for us.
Any idea of the time frame that might be?
No time frame right now. There's, I think that as far as their feasibility study is concerned, I mean, it was pretty clear on what kind of a savings you can anticipate. And then I think what's happening now is it's going to go back to each municipality to pretty much do a self-assessment, see how the central dispatch system is going to benefit them, how will help benefit their services. And because everybody operates a different way. I mean, some use their dispatchers as greeters for their departments. Some have their dispatchers are in a closed room, and they don't have any contact with the public. So the culture in each one of these organizations are affected, and that's what they're going to be looking at. Self-assessment, and try to figure out how the central dispatch will benefit them. In addition, today we met with Judge Mendez from the AOC, Administrative Office of the Courts, came down to visit along with his entourage, and they were very impressed with the workings of our court. We have a very efficient working court, and they gave us major kudos because of the consolidation that we did along with Dennis Township and Corbin City. Not only are we a model for that, what's very unique about our court and our partnership is that it crosses county lines too. So, I mean, that's not very common in the state. So we kudos to our people in the previous administrations that set that up. So,
Well, we also said that there's only two courts, shared services and courts that cross county lines, and we are one of them. We were the first. In fact, it was a model for, I think he said Gloucester, and some town in Gloucester County is doing something with Burlington County.
yes.
And they also said that we are, now that we have the metal detector that will be soon to be hooked up that you see as you walk into the foyer, that will be totally compliant with the state requirements for operating our own court system along with as a shared service. There apparently are a number of municipalities that are lagging behind with meeting the requirements. We have the bulletproof window, which is required for payment. We now have the metal detector. We previously have the ability to have webcasts to and from, because part of the requirement is to be able to, if someone is in prison for whatever reason, they don't have to bring the prisoner here, or they can do it via a webcast. So anyway, these are things that were done at this township, not because we wanted to go out and buy all these special things. It was because these are state mandated statutory requirements. And we have a certain time frame to meet that requirement. And they were very complimentary that now that we have the metal detector, that was the last thing that we needed to make ourselves fully compliant. So they also said that they, and to further add what Ed said, they basically said that they were going to use our shared service agreement and the way our court system is set up as a model for other municipalities to consider using. So pretty nice compliments, actually.
Yes, definitely. That's all I have to report.
We did have one other meeting besides the meeting that Ed and I attended. This morning, John, Hobie, myself, and Ed attended the grand reopening of the senior center. Over on Stagecoach for the county, it will staff and provide the lunches and hot meals at the facility. For those of you that don't know, part of the agreement of having the facility totally redone, refurbished, remodeled, was that we agreed that we would take on the responsibility of the maintenance of the building, and that the county will run all the programs. The county will continue to provide staffing and services there. They really did an incredible job. I mean, it looks brand new inside and out. The other thing that they added to that facility is a wellness site. And the good news about that is that'll offer the opportunity for folks in the northern end of the county, and especially our residents, to be able to receive their flu vax and other immunizations and things of that nature that they normally would have had to go on to Cape May Courthouse for in the past to receive those services free. They also talked about that wellness center. What they plan to do in the future is have some nutritionists come up and talk about dietary supplements. There's an opportunity to talk about, different disease states that seniors are faced with and how to deal with it, and diabetes comes to mind, and cardiovascular disease, those kind of things. So Ed and I had been involved with this process from the start. We were sitting there, I guess it was about 6 months ago, when it was a total shell, and we were wondering what it would come out to be. And they really did a fantastic job, and I really want to thank our partnership with the county. The freeholders came through with a grant. They put a substantial amount of money into that facility. I would really further like to emphasize freeholder Gabor, Chris Gabor, who lives in the township. She's in charge of, I guess it's health and aged, and she really spearheaded the project, and so everyone that was involved, from the staffing and, who made the decisions on what colors were there and everything else, just did a really nice job. And it was a great turnout, and I think it'll be a renewed facility for the seniors to use. And quite frankly, the fact that we're taking it over will also be an opportunity for other residents in the township to use through our system of scheduling some meetings and things of that nature. So that's something we also hope to be able to do for some organizations, to be able to take advantage of that as well. So, did a great job. And we had some great music, right? One of the seniors played the piano and did an unbelievable job. So with that, let's move on to the resolutions.
Item number 1, authorizing the purchasing agent to prepare specifications and solicit bids for a 10-foot bed dump truck.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Okay, and this is a discussion we've had in the past. So would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 2, appointment of members to the Green Team Advisory Committee.
Move the resolution.
I'll second that. And added to the committee is Fred Butler, Zachary Nickerson, Denise Roche, and already existing committee members are Anthony and Sarah, Paul Dietrich, Caitlin Wentz, Karen Mitchell, Ralph Cooper, and Maya Small. So would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 3, amendment of the official organizational chart for the Township of Upper.
Move the resolution.
Second.
And I think we finally got it to where we've captured everything, everyone's comfortable with their departments and who they correspond to. This is a public document, so if anyone would like to see this, I certainly could ask at the Township Clerk's office, but it's a very comprehensive workflow chart on which one of, well, actually, each one of our responsibilities and who we work with, and kind of leads on to the discussion we had at the last, I guess, workshop meeting, where we actually take the responsibility for our departments. We do work with them on day-to-day issues, and it eliminates the need for our township to have a business administrator, and this is something that they would normally handle, but in fact, we do it here ourselves. So, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 4, appointing Theodore Cooper as a temporary construction code and building subcode official on an as-needed basis in the absence of the permanent construction code and building subcode official.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 5, authorizing a professional services contract with Code Safety and Health Consortium for an alcohol and controlled substance training and testing program for certain township employees.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Yes.
Yeah, this is this discussion that we had, and this memorializes that discussion, and this is to meet the requirements for our, public works and other people that are working for employees with licensure. Right?
Yes.
Would you call the roll, please?
Did I have a second? I'm sorry. Linda.
Yeah, I think it was Ed.
Ed?
Yeah.
Did you second? Okay. Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 6, authorizing the mayor and township engineer to sign and submit a New Jersey Community Forestry Program Green Communities Grant application.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Okay. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 7, approving the application of the Marmora Volunteer Fire Company for highway pulling trucks.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 8, resolution authorizing the issuance of $600,000 in special emergency notes for the revaluation program of the Township of Upper in the County of Cape May, New Jersey.
Move the resolution.
Second.
And for those in the audience, you hear that we're approving $600,000. It's actually a requirement. We are asked by the county to have a reval, and the total amount of that reval cost is $600,000. We will be prorating it at $150,000 a year, so that it isn't a crushing blow to our budget, but it's a crushing blow to our budget either way. So it's an expenditure that is required based on the county stating to us that, we have to do this reval.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 9, under ordinances, public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 1, 2014, and ordinance amending ordinance number 13, 2013, known as the salary ordinance for the calendar year 2014.
Move the resolution.
No.
Well, no.
To the meeting.
This is a public hearing, so before I open it up to the public, if there's any comments from the Township Committee at this time? Okay, hearing none. Is anyone here in the audience here to address ordinance 1, 2014? It's an amendment to our existing salary ordinance for calendar year 2014. Okay. Hearing no public comment, and let the record reflect that there was no public comment, I'll come back to the Township Committee and ask for entertainment for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 10, under another resolution, resolution amending resolution number 12, 2014, confirming appointments of various employees to their annual and specified terms.
Move the resolution.
Second. Any discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 11, under new business. Solar speed radar signs provide to the county the desired location for sign installation in Upper Township.
These are radar signs that the county program in which they're receiving several of these devices. And I believe, Mayor, they've asked us to determine where we would like the device located on the county highway in which rapid speed runs.
Stagecoach.
That's the first one that came to mind.
Well, Horse Tavern is also another area where we've had a substantial amount of complaints, but we certainly have had numerous complaints from Stagecoach, and I'm not trying to prioritize one area from the other, but Stagecoach has been really an ongoing issue for many, many years, and I think it continues to be an issue for whatever reason. I mean, people continue to go well beyond the speed limit. And it's posted at 35 now, and honestly, it seems like most people are going 50 on that road at this time. So I would suggest that maybe that will start, putting some awareness on some folks, and I'm sure we can work something out and putting something on Corson Tavern Road too, because I think we still have, wouldn't we still have the existing sign that we share with Dennis too? To our.
Well, we have the mobile trailer that we can use. Now,
State police centers out there too.
in conjunction, they also want to know an approximate location and the direction, so unfortunately, we could probably put 5 or 6 along Stagecoach Road and still not be satisfied, so.
Okay, so, but, what area do we think that we've heard the most outcries from individuals? I think beyond, it seems to me beyond Evergreen heading north towards,
That's-
Church and those areas.
You wouldn't probably want it too close to the stop sign.
But no, I realize that. So it would either have to be between, like, say, Butter and Church, or between, Church and Old Tuckahoe. But I think between Butter and Church, like in the middle
Heading
somewhere, is.
You want me to find it? I'll find a spot that's not next to, in front of somebody's house, in that area that would be,
Especially when they're coming up to Caldwell Park, coming south, and all the kids are crossing the streets and walking up there.
that's what I, you could,
One coming in that direction.
So what side, I guess we have to determine the side.
you have to decide the direction too.
Holy smokes.
The one there should be on the Caldwell Park side.
We only get one, so, if,
That's a hazard. The guy the other day passed 3 cars ending right at Caldwell Park, but he was coming southbound.
Well, would we want it before Caldwell, so that hopefully people will slow down?
if you're gonna do it for that, I would do it before, probably before Coventry.
Before Coventry, because there's a wooded area that people seem to pick up speed. And that's where they are going too fast as they get up to Caldwell. Very well aware of the time, right?
Four-way stops, and by the time they stop and get the speed up again, they're already past Caldwell. My concern again is the speed with the kids here.
You could do it either, in that area, probably either direction, but if you want to do it for protection of people heading towards Caldwell Park, which obviously makes sense, you could put it in the southbound direction between Coventry and Ocean Avenue, somewhere.
I have an interesting idea. Why don't, it sounds like that's a good place to put it, but let's see if we can somehow purchase another pole or something, and somehow we can make it a little bit more mobile.
These are mobile, right? They're just.
Well,
This is a permanent-
solar,
this is a permanent-
solar says to me that if we can figure out a way to do it.
No, this is a permanent, this will be on a fixed foundation and permanent.
Yeah, but I'm saying, there may be a way to latch the solar thing onto the pole and still be able to move it to another pole somewhere.
We could have 4 or 5 locations with current poles.
Not on the trailer, I'm thinking, if there's a way of making the solar part of it, that provides the energy for the digital readout. We can move that and keep the pole stationary, and then every once in a while, we can move it to some other areas.
I'll talk
I don't know if you can do it or not, but it's worthwhile to look into.
I'll talk to the county engineer to find out what pricing he has for these units and provide that to
Does that
township
make sense,
committee.
that, that way we can move
Maybe
it,
opportunity to be flexible.
right, or switch sides, north to south, and,
Solar power, we want to utilize it.
right. Because we don't have to worry about electricity or anything like it's a street light. So it should be able to be moved because of the energy source.
We'll have a solar generator, we're not running the sun. And it's
Well, no, it's mounted on top of the sign. It's just a small, about
It's like a little
18 inch
box,
by 18
right,
inch.
or-
So have them not run a sign, with a sign, have a post of a sign, different location, to move the sign to, everything goes with it, the sign.
We can talk to the county engineer if he's acceptable to that.
That's the good options we have, but I think that would be good, because if we can utilize it in other areas, I think that'll be to the benefit of the township. All right, so what's next?
Item number 12, under unfinished business, planning and zoning board structure.
All right, we have a number of documents that have been provided to us. There was discussion at the last meeting as to, well, first there was a discussion at a workshop meeting for the budgetary constraints, and then at the last meeting there was a lot of testimony from the public addressing the Township Committee. There was also a future consideration for what I believe the zoning and planning board were to meet and come up with some ideas to help offset the costs. And there's several documents. I believe they met last Wednesday. We have a letter from the zoning board chair, Paul Pasaccio. We have a letter. Hold on, I'm not moving fast enough with my computer there. From the planning board, Janet McCrossin. And we also have a comparison between the municipal fee schedules, which there are, I mean, really, we certainly are, according to this, far lower than all the other municipalities that they looked at, and they looked at Avalon, Middle, Ocean City, and Upper Township, and it's my understanding we're also lower than Dennis. Okay. And let's see what else. Finally, there's a letter from Dean Marcolongo, which talks about a new opportunity and how the Township Committee could contractually work with Mr. Marcolongo. He's offered to lower the salaries between both the planning and zoning. He's offered, I believe, also to work as a subcontractor rather than an employee. Am I missing anything, Dan?
No. I think that's most of the items that were in the package. There are two schedules. One, I think, just compares a handful of municipalities, and the other compares not just, I think, maybe double that. And it is kind of obvious that our application and escrow fees haven't been adjusted in quite some time.
So I believe the suggestion is that, you know, they raise it, and not an absorbent amount, but raise it to a level where they feel that is a fair level that will certainly allow for both planning and zoning to operate separately. And the idea is, I believe, that the applicant would be willing to bear some of the costs in an effort to help offset time. And there was also much testimony at the last meeting as to, most of it that I recall was in opposition to it, so, to combining the boards. So I guess the next step is the Township Committee needs to make a decision as to whether to move forward with this proposal to combine the two boards, or vote to keep them the same. And based on the fact that, I mean, one of the main reasons that was driving the combination was an effort to save some money. You know, there's an effort here to save money and still be able to provide the same services. So I know, John, you had some thoughts on this. You know, it may make sense to kind of ask each person, if you don't mind, what your feeling is on it. I don't know that I would entertain more discussion from the public. I thought we had ample discussion at the last meeting on it, unless you folks disagree with me. I can certainly do that, but I think we kind of got a flavor for, where everyone's opinions seem to be. So, John, do you have any comments?
Sure, in our last discussion of this matter, the targeted cost reduction that we had in mind was $15,500. Mr. Marcolongo surprised me a little bit in his opening remarks in his letter when he stated that merging the boards would not be in the best interest of either developers or the citizens of Upper Township. Developers' interests should never influence the decision of either board. These boards are in place to protect the interests of solely the Upper Township residents. Those that wish to bring a development into this township should be permitted to do so, but only after they've been able to prove that their development plans will not interfere with the quality of life of the township and will benefit the township by way of sufficient rateables to offset the financial impact of the community and/or provide permanent jobs for the community. Mr. Marcolongo's proposal is to reduce his fee, his retainer fee in each board by $2,000. And also, as you said, alter his status from that of a full-time employee to a contractor, which would further save the township $1,814. That would be a total savings to the township of $5,814. That really puts us nearly $10,000 short of our targeted savings. And, and that $10,000 only exists if that new contract does not change the hourly rate that would be charged for application review, preparation of resolutions, litigation, and other miscellaneous costs. Mr. Marcolongo in the letter, again, as you discussed, did restate what Mr. Young pointed out last time, that our fees are not up to what the fees are in other communities. That, however, is, even though that's correct, and our fees are very much in need of updating, and I encourage the committee to make that a priority, but the fees generated from the applicants are really not part of the cost reduction effort here. So I really appreciate the effort. However, our target hasn't been met, and there really hasn't been a compelling reason presented to go forward with consolidating these boards. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we move forward and combine the two boards into a consolidated land use board.
I agree with John, and I think we should move forward with the merger of the two boards. The savings that we realized proposed reduction in contract and so forth and so on was not equate to the one that we were actually looking for last time. And again, now, we're going through the budget process for the last 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 meetings. We were at a point that actually $1,000 line item was sufficient for us to cut. $1,000 is important enough for us to cut our budget. I think that $10,000 is even more important to cut it, and of course, saves measurably on the taxpayers. And I do agree with John that we should move forward on that reason to merge the boards.
So is that a second?
It's a second.
Okay.
Just for purpose of clarification, it doesn't combine the boards. The statute reads that the planning board would take over the duties of the zoning board, the authority and jurisdiction of the zoning board. And obviously, this is a motion to have an ordinance put on the future agenda. It has to be introduced, and then it has to be published in the paper, then there has to be a public hearing on it for final adoption. So.
Correct.
Okay, so there's a first and a second. Any further discussion, and we'll call the roll. So just, go ahead.
So yes, but we move forward, no vote no.
Right.
Yes, correct. Sorry.
Well, I'm making sure, sometimes it...
But
My main question is, we're going to vote on this. If it's a no vote, then it's a dead issue.
If it's a no vote, you don't move forward. The boards stay the way they
State
are.
our reasons for our votes.
You can, yes. And the public probably appreciate it.
Okay.
Do the honors,
Okay.
please, Ms. Barber.
Mr. Barr?
No, and the reason why I'm saying no is, I don't believe, although there is a cost savings, as minor as some people may think it is, or as great as some may think it is, I don't think that merging both boards is in the best interest of the public and our applicants that are entitled to having a speedy application process, and that's what I base my decision on.
Mr. Goggins?
Yes.
Mr. Sarah?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
No, and for the following reasons. I really don't see a cost savings in this. Your zoning and planning boards are not a line item on your taxes except for a small amount. They are a fee simple, user fee application, just like your construction office is, and they are to generate enough funds to offset any cost to their office and to the procedure only. They're not to make a profit, they're not to lose money. The problem we have here is the fees have not been raised in 11 years. It's a user's fee. It's very similar to what we've done in our sports programs. We've cut the budget, and now our parents pay for all the kids who play their sports. That is a user fee. To me, anybody that comes into this township, whether it be a developer, somebody asking for a variance, they are coming in to enhance their property and their property only. I don't want to see the fees high, but I think they should be raised to offset all the costs. And again, this is not going to be a savings either way because it is not a line item against our budget. If the fees are raised and we generate the income. If not, it's a gift from the township. And that's what it's been for the last 11 years. So that's my finding on my reason to vote. No.
So I'm in a very interesting position because I hold the vote here. And I have over the years, have always worked extremely hard to offer the same services without cutting services. I worked very hard in ensuring that our tax rate stays at a lower rate, but still not in any way impact the services that we've given to the township residents. I think it's very important, not only for trash removal, for snow removal, or even, taking, if you unfortunately need the services of the rescue squad, that they're there for you when you need them. And the same thing holds true for planning and zoning. We offer that as a service to those that live in the township, for those that would like to make a remodel for whatever reason of their existing household. And some of the homes scattered throughout the township in various locations find themselves in need of a variance for one thing or another because they encroach with front yard and backyard setbacks. There's certainly an issue. I served for 4 years on the zoning board myself prior to becoming on the township committee. And there were a number of residents from Strathmere that almost always found themselves, if they wanted to make any kind of minor remodel in their house, had to come before the zoning board. And I think that they are people that are contributing to the tax coffers as well. And just as we cover the costs to cover the street plowing and the street sweeping and the trash pickup, that's also a service that I think is imperative that we have here. And keeping those two boards separate. In this case, the fact that we are experiencing savings and potentially could bring it up much closer to the $15,000 that we had talked about based on increasing fees, has been the argument from the very beginning as to why we should consider combining them. And I don't think there's a savings that anywhere supports a substantial amount to cut the services to those residents that would benefit from it if in need. So I vote no.
Motion is defeated. 4 voting no and 2 in favor, or 3 voting no and 2 in favor.
All right, let's move on to the next item on the
Item
agenda.
number 13, RFP for tax maps.
Paul?
I'd asked this to be put on the agenda. We had discussed towards the end of last year when we were making the final revisions for the revaluation, and, did we want to just continue utilizing one vendor for tax map services, or do we want to take an opportunity to go out for this year's tax map revision services and get RFPs? So I've prepared a draft RFP. We're still going through some review of that, but I just wanted to get committee's authorization to go ahead and release that RFP to some surveyors to start soliciting quotes. Tax map revisions are required to be made when anybody consolidates a lot, does a minor subdivision, or does other things that may affect the tax map and how their lot is portrayed on the
Now,
map.
I have a question, because we have from time to time consolidated lots, based on paper streets and, for individuals. And we have not, that I recall, maybe I'm wrong, considered the costs that are associated with revising the tax map.
We should include those costs if they're not included.
And some municipalities, actually for minor subdivisions, include a line item cost for tax map revision.
I mean, there's a service right there that we still can provide, but put fees in place for that.
There's no reason you can't do it.
So does that have to be done by ordinance? Or
Yes, it would have to be one of your fees in the ordinance.
Can you please?
So if you're going to address the other fees, that's another fee you can address. Tax map revision fee, but we'd have to have a rational basis to the actual costs.
Well, and that's when, the way I set up the RFP would be as a unit pricing for based on whether it's a lot consolidation, street vacation, minor subdivision, major subdivision, or other change, type of a thing. So with that RFP, we'd have a rational nexus to develop what the fee would be based on the unit pricing.
And so you understand where this fits into the public contracting aspects. It's not a request for public bids and you have to take the lowest bidder because it is a professional service. Obviously, price will be a factor, but it also it reviews their qualifications and ability and experience. So, Barbara's office and I will go over it.
So it would make sense then, Paul goes out and gets an RFP, and we make a decision, then we can add that expense, that line item, because we're going to do it by unit anyway.
Well,
Right.
yes, and you can do it now without it, it's just you have to be able to calculate what that cost is.
Correct.
You can change the ordinance now to add those fees.
But most likely, we would have the RFPs back before the draft ordinance would be ready.
Well, how is this different from some of the tax map work that was being done towards the end of last year? And I remember being at a meeting where, you kind of indicated a lot of the tax map changes had been complete for the...
Well, the tax map is always continuously changing.
Okay.
Some of the changes that were done was over the previous 20 years since the tax maps were originally drawn, there were, over the years, some changes that weren't made, whether administratively from, whether somebody filed a deed, and then when it came into the assessor's office, that change never made it to my office to be changed, or sometimes some people would put a condo, create a condo for their property, and that change wouldn't be made on that. So there's a lot of, I'll say, administrative changes that the Division of Taxation was requesting to modernize and standardize our maps, and that we didn't know about because of administratively, things just got, I'll say, lost in the translation.
So that's what was done last year?
As well as the other changes that normally occur. Like I said, street vacations, lot consolidation. We get a lot of the lot consolidations come in when people come in and appeal their taxes, and where they have, their house sits on a lot of small individual lots. So, when they come in for a revalue, a tax appeal, the tax assessor will get them to consolidate all those smaller lots into one line item, so it's also cheaper and more efficient in the future.
It's also requiring you, the board, to take over the for a variance. Because they can-
Correct, yes, if they're on those smaller lots.
So, getting back to these fees, is this something that, I realize there's certain things that have to be done to do an ordinance, but, is this something that's relatively easy to do?
Yes, it's basically go to the fee ordinance and take the $50 fee and make it a $100 fee. And just go through, it's not a hard thing to do.
It's covered with this, it's not that.
I mean, the mechanical aspect of it, but you're gonna need a recommendation. I mean, you're gonna have to decide where those numbers are drawn. I would suggest if you're talking about the application and escrow fees, you take a look at the other municipalities. There was a recommendation, or a suggestion, I think, in one of the letters from one of the boards or their solicitor as to where you could set the fee based upon breaking even, and it still would be below the other municipalities. Since it is a land use type law, you would probably refer it back to the planning board for an opinion anyway. You could ask the planning board to look at it and suggest a revision to the fee schedule. I mean, they know more than anybody else what not volume of applications.
But beyond that, I'm talking about for the tax maps that have to be changed.
That's,
It would usually, typically, in other ordinances, they're in that same fee schedule.
they're in the same section. If you recall, a few years ago, we changed the municipal fees for copies out of the clerk's office. It's not a difficult ordinance to write.
Okay.
The only hard part is you folks have to decide where the number falls.
Okay?
So I just would need an authorization to go out and to get that RFP.
So I'll make a motion that we allow the engineer to go out for an RFP for pricing on revising our tax maps as needed.
Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Ball?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Sarah?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 14, amendment to the bond ordinance number 15, 2013.
This is a motion resolution or?
This is a discussion item for you to review it, look at the ordinance, make sure it has in it what you want before it's scheduled for an introduction. Barbara did make changes. There were changes made, I believe, and Barbara can go over them with you from actually the discussion from the last meeting. I believe your department, Tony, added some things and took some things out since the
Go
last
ahead,
meeting.
Barbara. This is the sheet here that you're going to use?
That's correct. The items in yellow were items that were added since our last discussion. The item in green was removed. So basically, what had to happen was you approved a list of equipment and items to go into the multipurpose bond. These items had to be taken and fit into the purpose that they belong with in the bond according to their useful life. Bond counsel did that. I sent a list up to them. Bond counsel put the items into the amended bond ordinance. We also, because there was a large amount of equipment requested, some trucks and some other things, we did not change the full amount of the authorization, the full amount of the bond ordinance. However, within certain purposes, money had to be shifted around to allow certain purchases to be made in that bond. For instance, in Purpose A, the one truck was removed, but handheld scanner for the trash cans was added. In Purpose F, the acquisition and installation of monitors here for Township Hall was added. There was a tire lift added in Purpose G. Again, money was shifted around to make sure that we didn't go over the appropriated amounts. You have a 3-page spreadsheet in front of you that I tried to show you. It's a lot of information, but I tried to show you how the money was moved around, what items are added, what items have been purchased, what items are still waiting to be purchased. Remember too that you have a policy in place that even though you approve these items in the bond to be purchased, before they're actually purchased, it comes back to you for your approval. before things are actually encumbered.
It's not too long for bids.
I'm sorry?
That's well for bids still, right?
Some items go out for bid, some are quotes. It just depends on the price of it, but no matter whether it's a quote or a bid, you've requested that everything come before you to get your authorization before it's actually encumbered. It's,
The total amount is not changed, although you leave some, then some, but the total amount is not changed, it's staying.
that is correct.
All right, does anybody have any questions of Barbara?
I just had a question on the median duty ambulance, the 225, that was for a whole new rate.
That is correct. For the purposes of the bond, I estimated high. Jay did give us some quotes that were lower, came in about $100,000 less, but I kept the full amount of the ambulance in there. If along the way something happens and we do need the full ambulance, the money's authorized, rather than having to go and amend the bond ordinance again possibly.
Yeah, it's easier this way, I think they should.
Right. Again, you would approve any purchase as we're getting ready. You would have the decision to make whether it would be a full ambulance or just a cab and chassis.
I don't know
or
what's left.
A cab, whatever it would be.
All right, so are we looking for a motion to go forward?
To schedule the bond ordinance for introduction, or if you want some changes to it, then that'll be the time to change it before the introduction.
I do have one other change. As you're looking at this draft, in Purpose D, there is an infield sand pro that bond counsel has placed in Purpose D. I spoke to bond counsel today, and we will be moving it to Purpose A. None of the money changes at all. We're just moving the one piece of equipment, the infield sand pro, from D to A.
What's the available funds that we still have in the bond?
We have, I believe, 1.7 million roughly left to spend in the bond.
Looking at Amanda's field again, we've got the grant money to do as much as we can, but probably we can't finish the field until the lights are in. Make the changes to the cover until the lights are in. So without the lights, we're kind of at a standstill to get that part up and operating. And I don't know if this is the time to put that line item back in.
Well, you have 166,000 in
Well,
there.
no, you actually, you've got 138 for the lighting and 20,000 for the concession stand. That's what the bond is allowing right now.
No, that's what you're charging against it.
So I do about 138.
Correct, for lighting and 20,000 for the concession stand.
Okay.
And so the Golden Hill Playground is included in this as well.
We've actually already encumbered, that's already been spent, and we already have bought
That's paid.
that.
What kind of timeframe are we talking about to make the change over there?
For,
At the
Golden Hill Playground?
I'm not sure, you'd have to talk, I don't,
we just paid for the
Yeah,
playground
I think
equipment. In
they've
fact, it
received-
might be on this, I think it's on this meeting that you're
I
actually
think
going to approve.
they've received the equipment, so they just have to schedule it based on weather.
Okay. No, only because the residents are asking me when I walk the dog.
It's getting close.
Okay.
There's a little spelling error, the therefores.
Yeah, but they don't.
Right, so is that enough to get, that's enough to get, you're satisfied with that? Hobie for the lighting?
But we were at 130 plus 75, right, Paul?
Depending on, how we do it, whether or not we can get donated, whether we can do some of the labor ourselves, there could be some savings there if we do some of the labor ourselves.
When it was done at Caldwell, We did labor, and wasn't there also volunteers that helped with that?
We had some volunteer help, but a lot of the volunteer help consisted of getting Atlantic City Electric to come out to set the actual poles. That's where a lot of, there was volunteer labor that helped do some of the work, but the majority of the volunteer labor was getting the Atlantic City Electric out there to help set the poles.
And Dan, this is an aside, but remember when they put the electric poles down Roosevelt Boulevard, and Atlantic City Electric was willing to mitigate because of aesthetic stuff? Do we know if we ever got that mitigation?
That was prior to my time, but during my tenure, we never received it, I don't believe.
Yeah, and I don't believe it either, so I'm thinking we need to go back and do some research, and let's see if we can ask Atlantic City Electric to help us with this project. It's not too late to go back and revisit that. Has it been that long since those poles have been up?
Yes.
Yes.
They went up, I think, early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. It was.
That was a little bit later, I mean,
Because I know that we were putting up a big argument, we didn't want to look at pole, you know, like a, you know, and so they said they would mitigate. And at the time, I think we
It
were
was
just
a
beginning to
bike
work
path.
on Amanda's Field.
They were, I don't know if it was I thought it was the bike path that they were talking about.
Yeah, to light it. So that was never done, so why can't we use them to help offset the costs to get this other project going? I think that we need to remind them of that. Not only remind them, let's show them what we had talked about.
Well, if we have a file on it, maybe we can find out what the status was.
It's hard to believe I can still remember all this stuff, but.
For Barbara's purposes, she needs to know whether or not there are any changes to this, and do you want to schedule it for an agenda for introduction?
Is that item enough for the lights? We have 138 in there?
not if you were gonna have a contractor install it fully, and not if you don't have any contribution from baseball.
We were talking about doing 3 fields, correct?
You definitely don't have enough to do 3 fields. But they don't need 3 fields to start playing baseball. They only currently have 2 fields lit.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't seen any bids, or I'm not sure what.
As I said, yeah, it's been about 5 years since we took and received bids for this, but based on my recollection, for the full bid price, you would not be able to do both those fields for that price.
Have you looked at for us to buy all the lights and all the materials, and maybe have Calvi or somebody with the big equipment come in and install them instead?
It would be, I think you have enough money to do
You'll
the,
save substantial on that if we can get somebody to do it.
if we can get donated labor as far as helping with an electrician to do the final hookups, and then to set the poles, and then our public works to install the rest of
I think it's
the conduit.
We should really look at doing it that way,
And we absolutely should do it that way.
and I think we could save substantially on it. I know I'm not.
Let's see what this research provides. I'm optimistic, I'm trying to find another way out here. So, it sounds like then, and I'm not gonna speak for you guys, but sounds like we're to the point where we should put this to ordinance for introduction. Everybody comfortable with that? Do you need a formal vote for that, Daniel?
I don't think so, as long as we have direction to put it, because the actual vote will come on introduction, it's just direction for an agenda item.
Okay. Good work, trying to leverage everything at this point. All right, would someone like to make a motion to pay the bills?
Just a couple quick
Okay,
questions
sorry.
from the bill. I noticed a big improvement in the number of miscellaneous items, it seems to be going down.
Okay, good. We're working on that.
Yeah, it is improving. We still got, I think, about $11,000 labeled as missed. But, you know, it's pretty obvious what those items are. The other question I had is the 2 out-of-period expenses. I see a purchase from Max Chris Marine for a trailer for $2,000. Invoiced on the 27th of December. And Old Dominion Brush for parts miscellaneous from the 23rd of December. Do you have any idea what we're looking at there?
I know the trailer is, I believe this trailer, Public Works is in here now. I believe the trailer is for our groundskeeper. The means, how he was transporting the mowers and all was unsafe.
Okay.
And this trailer now makes it a whole lot safer. The Old Dominion brush, without looking at the purchase order, which may not be here because it's probably,
Boom mower.
Old Dominion brush is what?
I believe it's for the boom mower.
Oh, parts for the boom mower? Okay. I can check on it for sure,
Just-
John,
yeah,
but,
it just kind of caught my eye being out of period and at the end of the budget year last year. I was just kind of wondering how that rolled over. But, okay.
I can let you know about it.
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated in the full meeting minutes of this meeting.
Second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Mr. Povey?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion carried.
There were a number of reports of municipal departments, construction code, clerk's office, animal control, tax assessor, tax collector, and finance office. All of those reports will be available if you request at the township clerk's office tomorrow, but I'd like to make a motion to accept these reports.
Motion to accept?
Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Povey? Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Okay, at this time, we'll open it up. If someone from the public would like to address the township committee, please come up and state your name and your address, and then what you have on your mind. We better raise that mic for Dave, because that is going to be bending over. It's all...
Maybe not. There we go.
David Lavari, 1291 Route 50, Tuckahoe. This is in reference to the Triton property, Lavari's Seafood and American Grill. And I received a letter from Upper Township Planning and Zoning Board, and I was informed by the township engineer that you don't have anything to do with this, but it's in reference, and if you would want copies, I have more than enough. It spoke of a fencing. Now, it speaks of, it appears that improvements such as outbuildings, storage containers, fencing, gravel parking areas were done without zoning approval. Well, the fencing was part of the agreement with the ABC, the state police, and the township committee. I am going to remove the outbuilding, which is that little landscape building by the waterfall inside the fence. And I'm going to remove the storage container, and I am not going to apply for a site plan. I will speak to Shelley about this, but I think this is wonderful. And some of the things that I'm going to remove, I'm going to be glad that I won't be taxed on. I did not want to cause a problem in the township, but how do you get on the list to get one of these letters? And should these be sent to every business?
Well, this is the first I'm hearing of this letter, Dave, so
I have copies if you want to look at it.
you can provide copies of whatever you have for us to look at. Certainly, if you have an agreement with ABC and the state police on the fencing, I don't know how we can,
Well, no, you have to have, if the liquor control board, and I don't know what the state police would have to do with it, but bottom line, if the fence is required, he would have to get a permit for it. For example, when the liquor license was expanded from Obadiah's to the outside, they had to go get a site plan approval to allow for the outside tables and whatnot. Same thing with, what's the Captain Seafood place? They had to get site plan waivers or approvals when they did that, even though they got state approval. And on the actual plan is whether or not you require site plan approval and so forth.
That was approved in it.
Well, and I don't doubt that this is all approved, but this is what should be given to the planning and zoning office so that they can confirm that you're okay.
They were involved.
Well, that's the information that needs to go to the planning and zoning office. And I really can't tell you, it's the first I've heard of it, so I don't know.
okay, so what we could do, Dave, is we can facilitate and move the letter that you just provided with us, and then we'll certainly get into some more details. Again, some of the zoning things, are not under our jurisdiction at this, so, but doesn't mean that we can't give you an answer to whatever your questions are, so.
I will be removing what it says in the letter, I just can't remove the fence because that was approved on that resolution by the Township Committee.
And that, if that's accurate, she should be able to see that and it shouldn't be an issue.
This is a planning board resolution.
Okay, but it would be, she would have to look at the planning board resolution, compare it to what's there, and if it's accurate, then
Well,
it's
there was
allowed
a
to
planning
happen.
board resolution, and then there was, for the ABC, there was approved by
Correct.
the Township Committee,
Okay.
which will
But
again happen.
that doesn't, just so you know, Dave, it doesn't affect your land use approvals. In other words, your liquor license expansion or whatever is one thing, but it's like if you want to expand to another building, you have to build a new building, you gotta go to the planning board to get the approval for the building. No, I'm trying to give that as an example.
Okay.
So if you were expanding outside and required a fence, you would probably need a fence permit in addition to the liquor license approval.
Well, all that was approved.
And that's something that should go to zoning and planning, so you can show her it was approved.
We'll certainly, work with Shelley and yourself to try and make this work for you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else at this time? Hearing crickets. I will close the public portion of the meeting, and I'll call on Mr. Coggins to read a statement so we can go into closed session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Matters, number 1, personnel. Number 2, contract negotiation, shared services agreement for recycling coordinator. Number 3, safety and security. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality.
Okay, second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Insera?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you all. Have a great week. Let's hope that the weather forecasters are wrong for Wednesday into Thursday. I don't know about you guys, but I'm certainly tired of snow.